Welcome back. Today we're visiting with Hercules Offshore. Hercules has grown exponentially over the last few years to have more than 33 jackups, 65 lift boats, and more than 4,000 employees. Continuing our discussion, we're joined by John Rynd, Chief Operating Officer, and Laura Guthrie, Executive Vice President of Human Resources. Let's begin this discussion by talking about the Gulf of Mexico.
Gulf of Mexico, currently there's 90 jackups and 7 submersibles operating in the Gulf, which are bottom-founded. Currently we're operating 22 units that fit that mold, 3 submersibles and 19 jackups.
What about the jackups that are leaving the Gulf of Mexico?
Yeah, we've had about 36 jackups depart the U.S. Gulf of Mexico over the last 3 years. Some of those have been lost by storm. The others have deployed internationally, Mexico, Middle East, Southeast Asia. As those operators are offering 2- and 3-year contract terms, the rates are very attractive. There's a number of factors that would draw the jackup players out of the Gulf of Mexico, aside from term and day rate. Your insurance cost, post the 3 hurricanes back-to-back that we had, as of last year, our insurance cost increased 300% for rigs operating in the Gulf of Mexico. So there's that reason also. And also from a labor issue, labor is very tight in the Gulf of Mexico. When you go international, you have better access to labor.
Talk about labor. Laura, how do you attract the people that you need?
Well, it's been very difficult because the labor market is very tight right now. It has been really since Hurricane Katrina and Rita. We try to do everything we can to be as creative as possible. We offer sign-on bonuses, retention bonuses. We have an employee referral program for employees that refer somebody into the company. Of course, we offer competitive compensation and benefits. But I think one of the most unique things that Hercules offers is really a culture where people can come in and think for themselves. We're very creative. We move very fast, decisive in what we do, and that creates opportunities for people who look for that kind of a challenge. So we've leveraged that to the workforce that we've been hiring.
And I'd like to add to that. I think that if you're out there looking around who to go to work for in the offshore drilling business, we've grown, as you mentioned, exponentially. We're also committed to continue to grow. We're not here to flip the company. So if people get in this business looking for a future, also a future close to home in the Gulf of Mexico, even though we're going to grow internationally, with all the unrest globally, there's a lot of people now that want to stay closer to home. And we are here. We're the leader in the barge business. We're the leader in the jackup business. We're the leader in the lift boat business domestically. That's a great place to be for these people that want to stay close to home.
You make a good point, John, but as the leader, how does this affect your business?
I think it gave us a great opportunity, both flexibility on the domestic front. If you look at our footprint in the Gulf of Mexico, it goes from Mobile to Matamoros. So as people looking for rigs, our mobilization costs are much less. Likewise, in the lift boat business, being the largest lift boat provider, we have assets spread across the Gulf. So the mobilization time and cost are much less of an issue than if you had a smaller fleet and you're trying to reach and go further. But I think as you look globally, they have operations when we acquired Tadco in Mexico, Venezuela, Trinidad, Brazil, and Angola. We had operations internationally in West Africa, Qatar, and India. And we can grow either via the lift boat front or the jackup front. So we think our opportunities are great over the next couple of years.
We've been talking about a lot of diverse assets and a lot of growth. Laura, how does this affect the people of Hercules?
Well, it's certainly been a challenge. Integration is always a challenge, merging 2 companies together. Much of the business is very similar, so that part of it's not too hard. It's how we go about doing the business, operationalizing it, policies and procedures. We're just working as fast as we can to get those combined. And really, we're in a unique position to take the best of both worlds and come up with something that's really a best practice. And I think we've been very effective at what we've been able to create in a very short amount of time. And everybody's excited about a new opportunity to be part of a growth.
I think one of the things that's really been a key to the integration process is we have a very open culture. No secrets. We really believe in good communications. So I think it's helped ease some of the concerns. If they had a question, they were addressed, they were answered. Very little politics, no games. We're here with a common goal to be the most successful driller out there.
And you do that really in a high-touch way by going out and talking to employees face-to-face. That's the best way to build your credibility and listen to what they have to say. And I think the management team's done a very good job, again, in a very short amount of time, to make that happen.
Well, we've certainly talked a lot about Hercules. Let's talk about the clients. Who are you working with?
Our largest client historically for Hercules has been Chevron, which if you look at the largest leaseholder in the Gulf of Mexico, it's Chevron. From there, we go to Apache, which is the second largest leaseholder, W&T Offshore, third largest leaseholder. So our clients dovetail very well with their acreage positions in the Gulf.
Well, looking at the clients, are you able to take advantage of the deep drilling opportunities?
On the barge drilling business in the marshes, yes. We can drill, a number of those of our rigs are capable of drilling to 20,000 foot and deeper. Now, typically on most of our rig fleet in the Gulf of Mexico can drill up to 20 to about 22,000 feet, depending on kind of well configuration. But no, we can definitely address the deep drilling in the marshes on the barge business. And we have a couple assets currently as configured. They can drill the deep wells on the shelf. Now we do have candidates that we can upgrade if we deem it necessary.
You mentioned the barge business. And how do you handle the restrictions associated with this business?
Well, the biggest problem you have in the barge business is the permitting process. And of course, the predominance of our work is in the state of Louisiana. And rightly so. I think the environmental impact or potential environmental impact from a barge operation has been addressed. So it's a very thorough process. And I think it's a collaborative effort with the contractor and the operator to work with the state of Louisiana to ensure we minimize our footprint. So yes, it is frustrating at times from the turnaround time where you might have rig downtime waiting on a permit, but I think in the bigger picture it's the right way to approach the business.
I understand your point. Let's talk a little bit about the lift boat business. How do these two businesses fit together?
The lift boat business is tied more to maintenance and production, the more downstream from the drilling rig, if you will. So it is not as cyclical and tied to the commodity price as a drilling business is, because they want to maintain production. Also, the structures offshore in the U.S. Gulf of Mexico have to be maintained and surveyed once a year. So there's always that kind of base level of work. So it's been a very solid business. Now, we are the largest provider. We have about a 45% market share of the domestic lift boats. Primarily, we do maintenance, commissioning, decommissioning, and well intervention work. It's very much of a spot market, i.e. very short-term work, so we're constantly marketing vessels. But I think as you saw post-Ivan, Katrina, and Rita, the business made a significant change. The backlog of work just quadrupled. So the business has been very, very steady, very solid. Our lift boat operation since inception has not had a lost time incident rate, which speaks volumes for those guys, because they're under the same pressure that we are in drilling.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, Hercules has been on a rapid growth pattern. Where do you see all this going over the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I think our goal is to continue to grow. I think that if we believe if you're not growing, you need to get out of that business. And so if you look at our business, I would say the only non-core assets right now for us is our land business, which is in Venezuela, the U.S., and Trinidad, 9 units. We don't want to grow it, so we're going to try. Eventually, we'll exit that business. The rest of our 3 business segments, we intend to continue to grow. We think there's a great opportunity to continue to offer shallow water services globally, and also to be one of the few companies that is solely focused on the shallow water service business, as others have went out to deeper waters, and to really increase our level of delivering professional services. So I think our upside is tremendous.
Well, one thing's for certain, John, it's going to be fun to watch. Laura, John, thank you both for joining me for this discussion. I'm Richard Loomis for World Energy Television. Thank you very much for watching.